Hey guys, welcome back. I'm doing a small video here. I don't know how long it'll be, but I'm going to try to do a small video about the leveling system, vocations, discipline, and skills section for Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. I think this game, a lot of people don't continue playing it after a short while because of the confusion of how the system works, how the vocations work, and all the terminology and the hidden aspects of the game that are never explained through the tutorial or menu. When you talk about levels and experience, this is the menu it gives you. It doesn't really explain much. It just gives you what your current level is, what experience you have, how much you need to get to the next level, your health, stamina, vocation, your current vocation, the rank of that vocation, and how much discipline points you have. Now, with all that said, that's pretty much it. They don't tell you how much of a stat boost you're getting or anything like that. It's just kind of based off of, okay, let's just play this because I like it kind of thing. So let's talk about vocations really quickly,
My hope is that
because
for now, Michael, if there is
I
aught
think
can
this
do
is
to
the
say-
biggest confusion. Vocation is a class. It's just the way they say class in this game. Now, we're going to talk about the fighter, strider, and mage and a lot of our examples here. But basically, fighter, strider, and mage are the first three initial classes you get to choose from when you first start the game. Basically, fighter's a melee kind of guy. Strider's your rogue, ranged, can get into melee but can also play ranged. So he's the middle ground. And of course, your mage is going to be the staying out of the fight and at max range as possible, casting spells. So basically, this is your tier 1 vocation selection. Okay? Tier 2 is going to be advanced classes of tier 1. So you have now a warrior, a ranger, and a sorcerer. So tier 2 is just an advanced version of fighter that threw away the shield and just took a big old two-handed sword. Ranger got a longbow instead of a regular bow from the strider. Can still use daggers though. And the sorcerer said, screw it, I'm going to blow stuff up, and decided to focus on more offensive spells and uses a bigger staff. So tier 3 though is where things get interesting. As you can see with tier 2, warrior, ranger, and sorcerer all have icons or colors next to them for red, yellow, and blue. Well, your tier 3 mystic knight, assassin, and archers are hybrids of tier 1 and 2. So basically, mystic knight is red and blue, which corresponds to warrior and sorcerer. So you have now a warrior who can use spells and enchantments and stuff, but also uses physical attacks like a sword and hammer. An assassin said, you know what, I want to use swords now and daggers and a shield and a bow, plus I want to jump on stuff and do a lot of damage, kind of like a warrior and a ranger. So he's kind of like the jack of all trades, that's what it is. And he's really strong, but really weak. And the Mystic Archer is a yellow and a blue, which is a mix between a ranger and a sorcerer. So think about it. He's casting magic arrows. He can use a staff and daggers and a magic bow. So these are all tiers. These are 3 tiers of 3 different vocations. And they all play completely differently. The fighter, for example, is your sword and shield tank kind of class. The warrior said, screw it, I'm getting rid of the shield and just going to hit stuff with my giant two-handed sword. And the mystic knight says, you know what, I kind of like my shield, but I want my hammer and I want to cast spells. So that's how they all progress. Now, to unlock a new vocation, you have to pay for it with discipline points. The way you get discipline is to kill stuff and you earn it passively. There's no really a faster way to get it than just killing stuff. You can farm it in certain ways. Certain low-level creatures like rabbits and deer do offer you discipline points from killing them, but at a cost of low experience. So you can actually stay at a low level and still get discipline points. It's a way to kind of cheese the system. Let's also look at the ranking system for these vocations. Okay. The ranking system for vocation, if you look to the left, I'm at 3 red dots. Basically, it's just time spent on that character, or on that vocation. The longer you spend on a vocation, the more advanced skills you're able to unlock through the ranking system. It allows you to get better skills and higher tier abilities for that vocation. So that's how that works. Now, if you are a fighter at level 3 or rank 3, and you say, you know what, I'm going to play a Strider now. You come here and you purchase Strider. You can keep your rank as a fighter at rank 3, but you go to rank 1 as a Strider. You do not carry over that rank. So you start fresh on a level or a rank 1 Strider. Meaning you're going to have to level up your rank as a Strider to then unlock new abilities for that vocation. So you're starting fresh on a brand new vocation. So we were talking about discipline points just a second ago. And let's try to explain discipline points. Discipline is spent in 2 ways. One, like I said, buying a vocation. And you can buy all the vocations for about 10,000 discipline. I'm level 10 and at 2100. So you can farm out and purchase all of the vocations if you wanted to, really quickly. The downside to that is that you will not be able to purchase all of the skills quickly from all of the vocations, because the skills, once you hit rank 3, unlock, or once you hit new ranks in those vocations, unlock new abilities for that vocation. So look at my sword skill here. I have Burst Strike, and it says over there 600. That's a cost. It's going to cost me 600 discipline points to learn Burst Strike, which is a tier 2 version of this ability on my fighter. It's called Blink Strike. You just run forward and attack. So what I do is I go over here.
For now, my course is unchecked. If there is,
I have learned skills. I would go to my swords, and then I would click this and purchase Burst Strike, which would then rank up my Blink Strike to rank 2. So buying new abilities, though, you can't just purchase everything you want here and be like, okay. Because not only do you have weapon skills, you have, depending on your vocation, you have other ones like shield skills for the fighter, and they all cost discipline points. They also have rank ups of themselves. I think they go to rank 3, maybe 4. I'm not sure exactly. I think you have to have a ring or something to make it rank 4. But I think maybe rank 3 is actually the highest you can get. But then you also have core skills and augments and secret augments. Now, augments are basically meant for, like, more health and, halves the amount of stamina to lift up objects and things, but they all cost discipline points, okay? And the higher rank you are in your vocation, the more expensive an ability is going to cost. So some of these cost like 10,000 or something like that. It's ridiculous for discipline points.
If there is aught I can do,
so
for now, my course is
that explains how to purchase vocations, how to then also purchase skills of that vocation once you hit certain ranks in that vocation. The one thing that they don't really explain either, that I mentioned earlier, is your vocation experience, levels, and stats. Okay? I'm going to just tab out here real quick because I have a website that explains this a lot better. And here it is. Basically what this is, it is the Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen stat planner. Okay? It is literally what it means. It is a stat planner because the in-game does not tell you that your stats actually, for each vocation, for fighter, strider, and mage, each time you level past level 10, even your first 10 levels give you different stats to different abilities. So let me explain this a little bit. Right here, your initial class that you started out at, Fighter. I started out at Fighter. Gave me 80 attack and defense for physical, and 60 attack and defense for magic. Okay. The Mage, however, reversed it. Only gave me 60 attack and defense for physical, and 80 attack and defense for magic. I have less health as well as a mage than I do as a fighter. So the next thing too is the Strider initial start. He's kind of in the middle. You know, he has more health than the mage, but less health than the fighter. He has more attack and defense physically than the mage, but less than the fighter. And he has less attack and defense as magic as well. So the ups and downs is this guy's basically, 70 across the board with a little bit of lost health, where these guys are just pumping damage into their main stats and losing a little bit of health or gaining a little bit of health. The initial starting class doesn't really matter too much, but if you are OCD, I think the Strider is probably your best choice. You are going to lose a bit of attack, about 10, but not much, to be honest, in the end game. But if you're a min-maxer, 10 damage is a huge deal. So, same thing goes with the Mage. Now, so your Tier 1 Fighter, Strider, Mage are going to be my big examples here, as far as the difference between stats. Once you reach level 10, you're allowed to purchase a new vocation. So you can go from Fighter to Strider, or you can go from Fighter down to Warrior or Mystic Knight, whichever you wanted, but I'm only going to use the first 3 here, for example. So you're a Fighter, and you instantly, at level 10, switch to a Strider. Okay? So your first level into Strider is going to give you these stats. 25-25 for health and stamina, 3-3-3-2 for attack defense to physical, and attack defense to magic. That's a pretty, like the Strider and your initial class choice was pretty solid across the board. But your Fighter, on the other hand, if you was sticking with him and went to level 11, you see how the stats change? He goes more for health, 37 health to 15 stamina, 4 attack defense on physical, 1 defense and 2 attack on magic. The Fighter says, screw being across the board, I'm bumping it into things I want for my class, which is physical, attack and defense, and health. And just, okay, we'll deal with stamina and magic as we get them, kind of thing. Now, the Mage is the complete reverse. He says, you know what, I want all my stats into attack and defense on magic. It's okay if I have some physical stuff, but he says, okay, I don't want any stamina or any health. So he's the weakest as far for physical. Like I said, it makes sense for a Fighter to be in the fray, he has more health, the Mage should stay back, and the Strider's kind of in the middle kind of thing. So, but these stats will stick there for every level up to 90. So your next 90 levels are going to give you these exact stats for every point you level up at. So let's go and do a little test. We're going to put 90 points into Fighter. This is what your character's stats would look like without rings and gear and stuff like that at level 100. You would have a huge health pool at 4,050. You would have a decent stamina pool at 2,070. Your attack is at 476. It's okay. But your magic, it's not that good. And your magic defense is horrible. But your physical defense is great. Well, it's okay. Now, let's take those 90 points. Okay. Oops. And then put them into the Mage. Okay. And you'll see the flip. Okay. Barely any health at 2,600. Barely any stamina at 1,620. You have a little bit of a melee attack. You have no physical defense, but your magic is up there along with your magic defense. So, and then if we take these 90 points and threw them into Strider, you would see a more balanced outcome. 2970 across the board between stamina and health. you see a balanced attack between physical and magic, plus your defenses are pretty balanced, leaning more toward the physical side, but still, Striders are melee users, so, and bow users. So you see a more balanced layout here. Now this is your tier 1 selection between Fighter, Strider, and Mage. And you can see the huge differences between health, stamina, attacks, and defenses just on your first 3 choices. Okay? Now, the stats go even crazier down the road here. Between your tier 2 options, your Warrior, Ranger, and Sorcerer. Sorcerer says, screw it, I want all the damage in the world in defense. Give me a little bit of health and physical stuff. The Ranger, still kind of, I'm gonna play that middle ground thing, but hey, I want a little bit more melee attack and a lot of stamina. Health can really, The Warrior says, screw it. Give me all the damage, give me some defense, give me a lot of health, and I don't really care about stamina. And then your hybrid classes, your tier 3 vocations. Mystic Knight, Assassin, and Mystic Archer. You can see how they kind of play the same thing as a Strider. They are balanced as far as health and stamina goes, attack and defense. Except for the Assassin, he says, screw it. Just give me a little bit of health, a little bit of stamina, and all the attack, and I don't really care about defense at all. So I want to be glass cannon. And then your Mystic Archer is the same thing as your Mystic Knight. Or Magic Archer is the same as your Mystic Knight. He's like, just give me some health and some stamina, and just spread my talents, or my points across the board. Be a little balanced, just like the Mystic Knight. So, those are your first 90 points. Okay? And I really don't want to get on a tangent and start going into too depths on builds and what to pick and what not to pick and stuff like that. But, because the example I gave before with the Fighter, Strider, Mage pretty much sums it up. You can min-max and change these points around with this calculator to get what you want. If you want to balance stamina and health, if you want to throw all of your defenses and health away and just go straight to attack, you can. But the big issue too is, as your first 100 levels give you a lot of stats and can be managed and stuff like that, your next 100 points from 101 to 200 are going to be completely different. So we're going to go with Fighter again here. See how you get to 37 health, 15 stamina, and you get a bunch of attack, a little bit of magic defense and attack? Well, at 101, if you were a Fighter, it would drop completely. It would drop to 15 health and 5 stamina, 1 attack, and 3 defense. So basically, you're focusing on health and defense and a little bit of attack at that point. You're focusing on tank stats. Strider, just like it was at the beginning, it's playing across the board. Give me 1, 1, 1, 1 in everything. I want more stamina than I want health, and that's how he plays. The Assassin, on the other hand, says, you know what, screw it. Give me all the attack and 1 defense and some stamina. And then you have the Mystic Knight plays differently, but still the same as the Strider. He says, you know what, give me more health than stamina, but still give me 1 across the board. And then of course you have your Warrior that says, hey, I just want some more attack. And your Ranger that says, give me attack and a little bit more stamina. And your Sorcerer who says, hey, give me a lot of attack and no health and defenses. So, micromanaging your next 100 levels is just as important as your first 100 levels. Because you can really make or break your characters. Stamina and defenses go, or attacks, if you want to break a peak or min-max too much. Now, I'm going to show you here real quick before I get on a tangent is my build that I made for a level 200 Assassin. I've played this game enough that I think Assassin is probably my favorite character, but I only play in BBI. I haven't played the main storyline, so getting to 200 is, I always delete my characters when I get to like 140 or so because I'm just broken. I'm too powerful. So, but this is the build that I would use, or that I do use, when I do play my Assassin. It is a 3100 health build with a ton of stamina. I have 4700 stamina. The attack is huge at 766. My magic and magic defense for attack, it's decent, but it's not great. But my physical defense is also not that great either. It's at 347. So, but I am an assassin. I'm kind of like the rogue. You know, I'm not meant to be taking hits, but I can if I need to. I can dish out a ton of damage and all that stuff. So, that's the build I use. I went from a level 10 fighter over to 45 levels into ranger, 45 levels into assassin, and then on my 101 to 200 levels, I went 50 levels into strider just to get more stamina and defenses and attacks across the board. And then I went another 50 levels into assassin just to get more stamina and attack. So, it's a pretty simple build as far as leveling goes. I'm pretty sure people out there have way more complicated ones, but this works for me and what I use it for. So that's my build for the game. So let's get back in and wrap this up real quick, because I think the video's been going on for 20 minutes now. This is supposed to be a short tutorial on the intricacies of Dragon's Dogma. So basically, what you want to do is you want to pick a class that you enjoy, whether it be a caster, a physical damage dealer, or a tank/damage dealer. Then you want to focus your stats based on those 3 tiers. These 3 tiers of vocations.
If there is aught I can do.
So your 3 tiers are basically fighter, strider, mage. Okay, same thing here. You know, fighter, strider, mage, and then here you have fighter, strider, and then you have a mage. It's 3 different tiers. They all play differently, but their stats are kind of about the same. You know, so you want to try to focus on those stats, and that's pretty much it as far as this game goes. With the vocations, the ranks of the vocations, your discipline points, how to earn and spend them on vocations, and your skills, how to manage it that way. Your skill rank ups through your vocation ranks. Then your experience, the levels or the stats that you get from experience level gains per vocation with that stat calculator. And really, I hope this helps a beginner to Dragon's Dogma not be like, what the hell is going on? Or you make a character and you don't have the required stamina, health, physical attack, or magic attack to actually play the vocation that you've picked properly or effectively. Because I know that's really annoying. When I first started playing, I kind of dumped all my points into fighter and then switched over to assassin, and I really wasn't doing a lot of damage. But then I started playing around with the talent calculator, and it really changed how the game played. I went from, the 400 attack and stuff like that to like the 600, 700 damage plus my weapons. I was ripping things apart. So, but yeah, that's the secret world, the stats and stuff behind Dragon's Dogma's leveling and stuff like that. So, I really hope this helps someone. If you're a new player and it helped you out, let me know in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up. If you're an old player that played for a little bit and didn't understand it, now you learned something, come back and play, make a pawn. Maybe I'll rent it one day. And, yeah. So, thanks for watching the video, and until next time.